Hello. I decided to go live real for a little bit. I don't know how long I'm gonna do this because this fucking hair right here. I'm g- um I can't sleep, and there's a lot that's bothering me. Um, like when it comes to, I swear to God, like I have. Okay, that's about it. So I was watching Turtle Boy, and I was a little I don't know, I thought maybe he is gonna go over like the lawsuit and what's going on with him and Karen, that whole situation, but he seems to think that like the team is back together. That could be it's the farthest thing from the truth. So what I'm gonna do, I don't know if I'm gonna be no Milo. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to like go through all of it tonight, but I just wanted to read the complaint to you, and then I was gonna go over the Homestead Act because Turtle Boy's trying to say that that will protect him if anybody tries to sue him. And then I'm going to go over the laws as far as Karen severing her laws, like severing ties from him as far as the lawsuit goes, which is her best bet. And she should sue him. She needs to press charges on him for illegally recording her. I mean, we both know, we all know, Alan's not going to take this shit laying down. And I mean, enjoy the ride. And I know it's probably going to take me a while to build my channel up. And I might want to give up at times, but I don't give up easy. I know I'll get an audience because I'm a very intelligent person. I tell it like it is. And I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about me. It's black and white. If you want to hear the truth, come over here. You want to know something? Ask me a question. All right. So we're going to start with this. It was filed in Barnstable District Court, and it's McCabe. You guys know who they are. This case arises from a multi-year conspiracy orchestrated by Karen Reed and Aidan Carney to subvert and prejudice the criminal justice process in Norfolk County, Massachusetts. Through a coordinated scheme, Reed and Carney sought to protect and enrich themselves by defaming, harassing, and tormenting the plaintiffs, who served as witnesses in connection with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts investigation into the death of Officer John O'Keefe and its prosecution of Reed for his murder. More specifically, Reed and Carney conspired to defame and did defame the plaintiffs by falsely asserting, among other things, that they were responsible for O'Keefe's death, conspired to conceal their roles in his death, and framed Reed for murder. The plaintiffs are now and have always been entirely innocent of any involvement in the O'Keefe's tragic death. Tragic death. Reed's and Carney's calculated operation to assassinate the character and reputations of the plaintiffs has caused incalculable harm, subjecting them to a daily tidal wave of hatred, harassment, and intimidation. While the damage, while the damage to these plaintiffs has been catastrophic, dear God, that's a fucking like a tornado. That's a big word. Catastrophic. Reed's and Carney's I'm doing Canny. I'm just going to do that on purpose because I know it pisses him off. Reed and Candy's lies have also caused a rupture within the Canton, Massachusetts community, poisoning the community's cohesion and discourse. Reed's and Candy's lies, which were amplified by a vigorous public relations campaign, tainted the criminal prosecution of Reed and deprived the O'Keefe family and the Commonwealth of the justice they deserve. For some reason, I was looking behind me. I lost where the fuck I was. The plaintiffs bring this civil action to finally hold Reed and Kearney accountable for the wreckage that their conduct has caused, and to prove in a public forum governed by the rules of evidence that Reed and Kearney, individually and collectively, pursued a deliberate scheme to spread lies about the plaintiffs, use social media and other amplification means to achieve maximum penetration of those lies, and enrich themselves through their ill-gotten celebrity. Jurisdiction and venue. This court has subject matter jurisdiction over this action pursuant to MGL Chapter 212, Section 3. I don't understand, because it's only Higgins that resides in Barnstable. So why are all four in Barnstable? But, it's fine with me because, I'm covering that bitch. Oh, Miss Nosy Bonita, sitting in the back, watching, listening. I'll be there. So the court has subject matter jurisdiction because of whatever. Venue is appropriate in this court pursuant to MGL Chapter 223 because at least one party to this case, Brian Higgins, resides in Barnstable County. Defendant Karen Reed is a resident of North. We know all that bullshit. All right, we'll go to Turtle Boy. Defendant Aiden Carney, aka Turtle Boy, is a resident of Holden, Massachusetts. Carney owns and operates the website TB Daily News and is responsible for the content that appears on that website. Carney also owns and controls the YouTube channel, YouTube Turtle Boy Live, and the Rumble channel, Turtle Boy Daily News, the Facebook page Daily News, the X account under the handle Dr. Turtle Boy, the Instagram page under the handle Boy New Turtle News, and TikTok account under the handle Boy Turtle Boy Daily News. Good Lord! I can't even. Wow. Carney monetizes the content he publishes on these various platforms and outlets by selling merchandise and advertising, and by asking for donations to his Cash App account at $sign Uncle Turtle Boy. In 2023, a grand jury indicted Carney on witness intimidation charges related to his conduct towards the plaintiffs. The grand jury accused Carney of harassing the plaintiffs, charging him with 8 counts of witness intimidation, 5 counts of picketing a witness, and 3 counts of conspiracy to intimidate a witness. Plaintiff Jennifer McCabe is a resident of. We can skip all that bullshit. Yeah, we can skip that bullshit too. In January 2022, Carney's occupation was that of an aspiring internet personality with limited reach in the greater Boston area. He primarily commented on sports and other media reports. Carney's objective. Hold on, I just want to do something. I hate it when it's like, oh, that's perfect. Fucking way too bright. So, all right, I'll start over here. In January 2022, Carney's occupation was that of an aspiring internet personality with limited reach in the greater Boston area. He primarily commented on sports and other media reports. Carney's objective was to attract attention to himself in order to build a brand and monetize his audience. To do so, Carney routinely engaged in provocation and courted controversy. While he described himself at times as a journalist, in fact, Carney has no journalistic training. Oh, shit. He has no journalistic training, editorial standards, or oversight. Oh, that's fucking key. Okay, the launch of the defamation campaign. Despite her several admissions of liability, by the time she was indicted and arrested on murder and related charges in June of 2022, Reed had set in motion a defamation campaign to falsely blame others for Officer John O'Keefe's death, to escape responsibility for her own culpability. Prior to her arraignment, Reed falsely denied responsibility for Officer O'Keefe's death, and contrary to her prior admissions, falsely stated to law enforcement officers that she was not responsible for O'Keefe's death. Instead, she falsely claimed that Officer John O'Keefe, had been beaten up by Brian and Colin Albert. I don't even know. Reed knew this statement was false and that Brian Albert and I'm going through to Turtle Boy. That's all I give a fuck about. Turtle Boy, I don't care. Karen ain't dumb. We all know what she's doing. She's fucking suing the shit out of him. Hands down, all day. So this is all, I'm concerned about what he's doing and his shit. Because he framed Karen. We call this from jump. From jump. As of April 2023, Carney and Reed, through an intermediary and Reed's counsel, began communicating with one another to further Reed's defamatory scheme against the plaintiffs. Carney described the intermediary as a copy and paste vessel that just sent messages between Reed and him. Oh, he's the errand boy. So now he's the errand boy then. Reed used an intermediary and her counsel to correspond with Carney to conceal the defendant's relationship and to create a basis upon which she should plausibly deny her role in Carney's false claims. Pursuant to the scheme, Carney would publicize and widely disseminate Reed's false claims about the plaintiffs and others in an effort to destroy the reputation of these individuals so that Reed could evade responsibility for causing the death of Officer John O'Keefe. She didn't do it, so whatever. As part of the scheme, Reed sought to launder defamatory material by gratuitously including in its pleadings filed with the court. For example, on April 12, 2023, Reed, through her counsel, filed a discovery motion for a second time to obtain Brian Albert's phone, in which she falsely stated that B and C were responsible for Officer O'Keefe's death, and that McCabe was the mastermind who covered it up. Reed knew these statements were false. Reed, through her counsel, also attached several non-public documents to the filing that had zero relevance to the narrow issue before the court. In April of 2023, Aidan Carney filed a records request through the FBI, through the vault. And that's how he got these documents. I have proof. I think I've got to dig for it, but pursuant to the scheme, Kearney would publicize and widely disseminate her false claims. We already read that. As part of the scheme, Reed sought to launder defamatory material by Reed, through her counsel, also attached several non-public documents to the filing that had zero relevance to the narrow issue before the court. The purpose and part of those extraneous non-public documents was to convey them surreptitiously to Kearney, who then would amplify the public dissemination of the defamatory material, all in furtherance of the defendant's defamation scheme. For example, Reed attached an unredacted copy of the Canton Police Department's incident report that listed the private addresses, cell phone numbers, and social security numbers of the plaintiffs. Reed made this filing in direct violation of the Massachusetts Supreme Court rule and did so for the purpose of giving this information to Carney so that he would further disseminate Reed's false claims. After this filing, Reed, through her intermediary, forwarded her April 12th filing to Carney for the purpose of Carney publishing and widely disseminating her false statements. With encouragement and direction from Reed, Carney published his first blog post days after receiving these false statements from Reed. Indeed, prior to Carney's April 18, 2023 publication, Carney shared his draft blog with Reed. Indeed, prior to Kearney, Reed, it's R-E-A-D. What the fuck? Carney shared his draft blog with Reed through her intermediary, who provided Carney with dozens of corrections, which Carney understood to be from Reed. After Carney received and adopted these corrections, Reed, through her intermediary, texted Carney, "Amazeball sauce. Thank you so much." Then on April 23rd, the defendant's defamation campaign went public when Carney published the first two parts of his Canton cover-up series in part one. Carney stated that Jennifer McCabe did not kill John O'Keefe since she's not physically capable of that. Brian Albert and Colin Albert did not kill Officer O'Keefe. Wait, let me start over. Hold on. April 28th, the defendant's defamation campaign went public when Carney published the first two parts of his Canton cover-up series. Part one, Carney stated that Jennifer McCabe did not kill Officer O'Keefe since she's not physically capable of that. BACA and the dog were more than capable of that. And Colin Albert had the motive. McCabe was just the quarterback of the cover-up. He also explained that Jennifer would never have been able to cover this up without the assistance of law enforcement. Carney admitted that he made these statements based on beliefs relayed to him by his sources. Although not identified at the time, these sources were Reed and her legal team. Part 2, Carney posted screenshots of people's messages to him that were critical of his defamatory statements. He made no effort to redact the names and proceeded to publicly mock them. Carney claimed that most people are shocked and outraged about the mountain of evidence indicating that Officer O'Keefe was killed by fellow BPD sergeant and possibly others. In reality, this blog post by Carney, like numerous other defamatory statements that he made, was funneled by Reed to her accomplice, Carney, with knowledge that he would publish it. To Fox News, Carney later explained that after he published the beginning of his Canton cover-up series, his blog exploded. He had record-setting audience with over 500,000 views. Elsewhere, Carney explained that when he would first go live on his YouTube channel, he would usually have about 300 live viewers. But he had over 2,000 the first night during his live stream about the Canton cover-up. With his newly found audience, Carney was now able to disseminate Reed's false narrative to even larger audience as Reed intended. Indeed, given the success of the first show at publishing and disseminating Reed's false narrative to a wider audience, Reed's intermediary told Carney that Reed's counsel, Jackson and Yannetti, wanted to speak directly with Carney. The conversation between Carney and Reed's counsel occurred on April 30th of 2023, in which they spoke about Reed's campaign. Carney secretly recorded that conversation. Wait a minute. With his newly found audience, Carney was now able to disseminate Reed's false narrative to an even larger audience, as Reed intended. Indeed, given the success of their first show at publishing and disseminating Reed's false narrative to a wider audience, Reed's intermediary told Carney that Reed's counsel, Jackson and Yannetti, wanted to speak directly with Carney. The conversation Carney and Reed's counsel, between Reed's counsel and Carney, occurred on April 20th of 2023. Carney secretly recorded that conversation. I'm going to have to take a break. I'm going to smoke a pot. Shut the door, make sure the dogs don't, they're outside downstairs. But, like, this whole thing is a shit show. Karen doesn't fucking need this shit. And I think what she's going to do is she's going to press charges on him. She has no choice. She's going to have to. And she's going to have to sever ties. Because he thinks the team is back together. He lives in like this reality. And, I was looking over, let me shut the door so I can smoke a pot. I don't want my dog to come up. You're not in. Okay. All right. So, I had said something to him about his house getting a lien. I mean, because I mean, everybody knew he was getting sued. I mean, we'd be assholes if we didn't think it was coming. We called it. So I looked into, like, the whole lien thing, and he said he had a homestead on it. And he's wondering why that lady is like creeping by his house. They're probably, oh my God, I just can't. I can't. That's why I can't. I hate when the hood is like, that's why I own my own house. I mean, I'm lucky, very lucky. My dad gave me my house. So trust me, I'm very lucky. I don't take it for granted. I love the man, and I do everything for the man. He's my daddy. He's not a fridge daddy. He's not a McBlaster, finger blaster daddy. He's not. He's my daddy. Shut up, it's me. So yeah, he said that because I mentioned that, someone's going to fucking sue you. We all knew that was coming. And the stupid fuck goes and buys a house. And the next thing you know, it's like, tag. So he said that he didn't want to, like, publicly put his address out there because he wanted a homestead to, like, protect the property in case somebody sued him. So you know me, freaking Portuguese, always up in it. And I looked up liens on homesteads. And it says, yes, a lien can be placed on a homestead property, but there are specific conditions and protections under homestead laws that may apply. Karen doesn't have a house. She's okay. Karen doesn't have a car. She's fine. I mean, she did not physically do anything. And they're going to try to prove conspiracy from what? May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Wait, when did he get? No, he got arrested when? I forget. It wasn't a long time. He acts like he thinks that they're boyfriend and girlfriend. Like he sits when he's doing his lives, he's talking to Karen. Just so you know. You guys like my glasses? I just got them back. Oof. Fly. So when there are types of liens, and creditors can place like different types of various liens on homestead properties, like even judgment liens, which are created when a creditor obtains like a court judgment for unpaid debts. Or once the judgment is recorded, it can attach to the property, even if it's, designated as a homestead. And so I think he thought that he would get ahead of it because the judgment wouldn't have been recorded yet because he hadn't owned the house. So, like, no one knew, he thought. So he said he put it in a homestead. A homestead exemption is the homestead exemption provides certain protections for homeowners, preventing the forced sale of the property to satisfy most debts. However, this exemption does not protect against all types of liens. For example, mortgage liens, tax liens, liens for work performed on the property. Can't believe I'm sitting here really smoking a cigarette while on YouTube. Who would have fucking thought? If Grandma, if you could see me now, I'm fucking killing it, living the dream. All right. I'm trying to quit. I swear to God, I'm trying to fucking quit. I don't smoke really. I'm in my room. My dogs are downstairs. There's fans going. Okay, I'm not greenhousing butts with my dogs, but I'm about to smoke some weed. So essentially, for someone to like place a lien on a property that has a homestead, they have to obtain a court judgment first. And it's a cloud over the title of the property, because if he ever sells that property, the person that placed the lien on that home will get paid out first. And basically, like, I don't know. I mean, then let's see. Libel, I looked up libel and slander, because that's what they're also accusing. Karen wasn't directly saying that. Karen was not the one, like do the action. Like, she wasn't the one going out there and harassing people physically. She wasn't the one that was calling people murderers. She wasn't the one that was, you guys know what I mean. She didn't do it personally. Like, we never ever heard her badmouthing anybody. It was all him. And I'm sure that never in their wildest dreams did they think that this was going to turn into a fucking circus. So with social media taking an increasingly large role in our lives, individuals and companies may have multiple social media platforms where they share their messages with lightning speeds to millions of people. Unfortunately, those same social media channels also provide opportunities for people to make defamatory statements that can significantly damage a person's or a company's reputation. Let's see. Defamation is a legal term that refers to false statements of fact that damage someone's reputation. Libel, defamation caused by written words, images, or any other type of content that leaves a permanent record. Historically, libel cases involved print newspaper or magazine articles. She didn't write anything. Slander, defamation caused by spoken words. She didn't speak those words. Online defamation. This involves damaging and untrue statements published on any social media platform, and it can include statements, comments, videos, altered videos, and more. Online defamation poses unique legal challenges. For example, is a TikTok video post libel or spoken slander? A tort. It's a civil wrongdoing for which a person can sue another for monetary damages. Defamation is considered a tort. In this way, online defamation differs from online harassment, cyberbullying, which refers to online harassment directed at children and teens, and cyberstalking, which are criminal acts in some states. Proving defamation online. Most states have their own defamation laws, so the exact elements to be proven in an online defamation case will depend on where the case is brought. To prove online defamation, a plaintiff must show that the defendant made a false and defamatory statement of fact about the plaintiff, was at least negligent in deciding whether the statement was true or false, published the statement on an online platform for others to see, caused damage to the plaintiff. Proving a statement is defamatory. Defamation per se versus defamation per quote. Some false statements are deemed so harmful that they are considered defamation per se, in which case this element of the plaintiff's claim is deemed satisfied. For example, a statement that someone committed a serious crime would be deemed defamation per se. This is different from defamation per quote, which involves a statement whose defamatory nature is not immediately apparent. In such cases, the plaintiff must prove both that the statement was actually defamatory and that the plaintiff suffered actual damages because of it. Statements of fact versus opinion. To be defamatory, a statement must be one of fact, not merely of an opinion. Wait, to be defamatory, a statement must be one of fact, not merely an opinion. But wait a minute, defamation is a statement that isn't a fact. Oh, okay, I get what they're doing. Okay. This can raise a tricky question in online defamation cases, since so much of social media content is opinion, not fact. However, if an opinion implies fact, it could be considered defamation. For example, a post saying, "It's my opinion that Dr. Andrews closed his practice because of the sexual harassment that went on there." That may seem to imply the fact that sexual harassment occurred. If this fact is false, the posted child could be liable for defamation. Simply using "I think" or "it's my opinion" in an online post may not protect a person from a defamation claim. If facts can be inferred, defamation may be found. What does "at least negligent" mean? Under the law, negligence refers to an act taken out of carelessness out of, as opposed to one that's intentional. In defamation law, whether a plaintiff must show negligence or something more depends on whether the plaintiff is a private or a public figure. So I'm trying to think. They did what? Higgins? Well, Higgins would be public. No. Yeah. But that's a private figure. Only negligence is required. The plaintiff need only show that the defendant was careless in deciding whether the statement was true or false. That's confusing me. Whatever. What constitutes publication? Karen didn't publish anything. Because defamation deals with harm to a person's reputation, it makes sense that there must be an audience for the defamatory statement to be actionable. State defamation laws describe this element of defamation as publication. If the defendant has made a false statement in a text message sent only to the plaintiff, defamation likely won't be found. Also, the publication of the statement must be unprivileged, meaning no circumstances made it permissible for the defendant to make it a statement. Defamation damages. Damages is a legal term for money paid to a plaintiff by a defendant. In any civil case, the plaintiff must prove actual damages to recover them. The type of damages a defamation plaintiff might show include significant harm to personal or personal or business reputation, loss of job or inability to be hired due to reputational harm, loss or denial of unprofessional licenses, ruination of personal or business relationships, public embarrassment or humiliation, anxiety, mental anguish, depression, etc. Attaching a monetary sum to these types of damages is not easy. For example, what is the dollars and cents value of a person's reputation? This might be a relatively simple calculation for some, but for most individuals, the calculation is more challenging. All right, just take a second here, smoke my bowl. But I think like Karen didn't physically do all this. I think they're just trying to tie her to anything right now. And to be honest with you, Turtle Boy's a rat. All right. So, the type of damages a defamation plaintiff might show include significant harm to personal. I already read that. Okay. Examples of social media defamation. Online defamation can take many forms, including text messages, videos, or any other medium. For example, the following could be deemed online defamation: a YouTube video stating a local contractor bribed the city to obtain building permits. We got to turn this like this because I feel like that light is like in my face. So, a LinkedIn post asserting a former professor committed plagiarism in a scholarly article, a Facebook post implying someone caused their own child's death in an actual case. I mean, you can't just go around saying a blog comment accusing someone of unlawful or immoral conduct. Karen didn't do that. Fake news story on Reddit, Substack, Medium, or the like. Karen didn't do that. Defamation laws in social media. There is no federal defamation law. Instead, states have created their own laws for dealing with libel and slander. However, two federal laws significantly impact defamation claims. The First Amendment guarantees people the right to free speech. Defamation is considered an exception to free speech protections under the First Amendment. There is no constitutional protection for defamation. Defamation laws attempt to balance one person's free speech rights with another person's right not to have their reputation harmed. The First Amendment protects opinions, which is why an essential element of defamation claim is that the statement at issue is one of fact. That's why I always told them the First Amendment was enacted for the people to be able to overthrow the government. If we didn't agree with our government, we should be able to petition our government. That's what the First Amendment was for. The First Amendment is not to petition and harass private citizens. If that was the case, then why would we have a Fourth Amendment? And he was a history teacher. I'm a Portuguese. My parents didn't even know I got report cards. I failed like every class. And even I know that. So then, I guess now, There's a section 230 C1 of the Communications Decency Act, which provides immunity to social media hosting platforms such as X and Facebook for the statements made by their users. Because they aren't okay, but there is a narrow exception to Section 230 when the plaintiff can show the online hosting platform participated in the defamation itself, such as by editing a post made by a user. Now, there are defenses that are made to an online defamation claim, and one of them is truth. The truth is an absolute defense to a defamation claim. If a defendant proves the statement they made was truth, that ends the case. As stated above, opinions, sometimes referred to in the defamation context as fair comment, are protected by the First Amendment. Privilege. Absolute privilege applies to a limited group of persons who have the right to make statements, such as lawyers and witnesses in court proceedings and government officials acting in their official capacity. This privilege makes the speaker immune for defamation claim, meaning they can't be sued for their statement. Now, that's a lie. They can, if it's repetitive. Immunity can be granted if someone just makes a mistake, like, an innocent mistake. But once it's repetitive and you continue to do it, then no, immunity should not be granted, in my opinion. Qualified privilege protects people who make statements for some positive purpose, such as making a statement at a public hearing, but only if the speaker acts in good faith. Speakers who act in bad faith can be sued for defamation. This is like, you think that he would do some research. I mean, this is crazy. I'm going to go back to the filing, but I just wanted to go through this real quick. Like, retraction of a statement, like when he posts something and then he retracts it, like retracting the offending statement either by correcting or removing it from an online platform may serve as a defense or as a way to limit the damages. So there's no way of getting out of it. Like, what's done is done. And I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I just know that Karen's going to be all right. My girl is going to be all right. All right, let me see. What is a statement must be provable and false? Absolute weight defense. Publication. Okay, the statement must be false and provably false. That is an absolute defense. Okay. For example, Jones embezzled money is a factual claim. Jones is a terrible person is not. Publication to a third party. The false statement must have been communicated to at least one person other than you. This can be in writing, email, social media post, newspaper article, or spoken, conversation, or public speech. The statement must also be of and concerning you, a reasonable person would understand it referred. What the fuck does that mean? I don't even know. Basically, you know what? He's gonna be held liable for this. Like, I know that they want to get Karen because Karen is going after them. But I mean, I think Karen should just go after, like the big wigs, and sever ties from that fucking tool shed and press charges on him. Simple. All right. So 2 days after speaking directly to Reed's counsel on April 22nd, 2023, Carney made additional false statements at the direction of Reed. In episode 575 of his Weekend Live show, Kearney repeated Reed's false claim that O'Keefe was killed inside 34 Fairview during a fight with Colin and or Brian. During that show, Kearney also used the phone numbers that Reed and her counsel intentionally made public in their April 12th, 23 ruling or whatever. Kearney used those numbers to call McCabe and Brian Albert and directly accuse them both of a cover-up. Kearney's voicemail left on Brian Albert's phone asked, "Did you kill John O'Keefe, or was it your nephew Colin? Are you covering for him? How did your dog get downstairs and begin biting Mr. O'Keefe?" Now, this is also good too, because he's saying that she told him to do this, like via text messages or whatever. But he fabricated everything. I don't care what anybody says. I'll sell the farm. He fabricated those messages. How the fuck you gonna freaking have signal messages with just what Karen says? When Karen, unless he was just dude is grimy. And I tell you what, I hate to be him up in prison. He might even go with the feds, depending on how much time he gets, because this is some serious shit, yo. Later in the April 22nd, 2023 show, Carney shared images of the Canton Police Department's incident report, distributed it to thousands of followers, the private addresses, phone numbers, and social security numbers, as a direct result of Kearney publicizing their personal identifying information, which he received from Reed. The plaintiffs, who were not generally recognized or responsible for Officer O'Keefe's death, began to experience disturbing levels of defamation, harassment, and abuse by members of Carney's audience. Yeah, I know that. Trust me. They tried freaking jumping on me a few times on Twitter. The fuck out of here. So this is exactly what Reed intended when she began to use Carney to disseminate and publish her false story. Indeed, minutes after Kearney's April 2022 that broadcast or whatever, Yannetti, who was watching, I guess, said that was priceless. Dude, great fucking show. Really enjoying the turtle reporting. I think that was a lie. I don't know. I don't even know. I want to see the metadata for these messages. I want to see the authentication before I believe anything. I don't think, I don't know. I find it hard to believe. I want to see the metadata. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's like 50 pages long. But then the other guys, I guess they're filing was like 2,500 pages. But I'll just read like some important ones that I think, hold on, let me see. What? I don't even know what time is it? All right. For example, during a September 2023 Boston Magazine interview, Reed and her counsel stated that they had never been in contact with Carney. This statement was false and intended to hide the fact that Carney was carrying out Reed's defamatory scheme. Moreover, 20 months after telling Carney that his April 22nd, 2023 show was accusing McKay, Brian, and Colin of being involved was great. Yeah. Similarly, Jackson, holy shit. I don't know why the fuck I'm so tired. Similarly, Jackson publicly denied communicating and coordinating with Carney. In October 18th of 2024, Jackson denied involving Carney in Reed's public strategy. Yeah, during that same interview, Reed acknowledged that she communicated with Carney frequently, but she limited that disclosure, claiming that the two only spoke in the months leading up to her March 2024 criminal trial. On April 24th of 2023, Carney published part 10 of his Canton cover-up series, where he again accused McCabe of covering up a murder and pretending to be a compassionate person while completely innocent woman faces decades in prison. Why is it doing that to me? No, I don't want that. Sorry. Uh-oh. Okay. So, I'm sorry. I'm fucking high. I'm stoned. All right. I think I was on 30 something. Since April of 2023, Carney has published 545 parts to his Canton cover-up series, along with countless other pieces of content, including posts on X, YouTube, falsely claiming the plaintiffs were responsible for the... Yeah, we know already, all right? The conspiracy continues. Reed and Carney continued communicating before, during, and after trials to coordinate their defamation of the plaintiffs. Reed and Carney agreed to act in concert and used the defamation of the plaintiffs to subvert the Commonwealth's prosecution to attract an audience and to monetize that audience and their celebrity. I think they meant like celebrity status, maybe. In furtherance of this scheme, Reed regularly funneled non-public information to Carney using tradecraft, such as intermediaries, so that Carney could selectively publish at Reed's behest certain non-public material for the purpose of casting false suspicion on the plaintiffs and away from Reed. Wait, I gotta read that over. In furtherance of the scheme, Reed regularly funneled non-public information to Carney using tradecraft, such as intermediaries, so that Carney could selectively publish at Reed's behest certain non-public material for the purpose of casting false suspicion on the plaintiffs and away from Reed. Reed instructed Carney to falsely claim that he had not received information from Reed when in fact he had done exactly that. Despite having already publicly accused Colin of O'Keefe's murder at Reed's direction. No, it wasn't at her direction. Kearney inquired of Reed's intermediary how Reed knew that Colin was even in the house. That same day, Reed also informed Carney through the intermediary about the details of an alleged non-public, ongoing, separate investigation apparently related to law enforcement's investigation of Officer O'Keefe's death. In a message to Carney, Reed, through the intermediary, stated, "Not public. The feds have been involved longer than anyone is likely guessing." Of course, they've been involved since Sandra Birchmore. Aka was hired for just en route too. On December 1st of 2023, Carney posted a YouTube video in which he included audio that had been recovered from O'Keefe's phone by investigators. Wearing a Jackson Yannetti 2024 t-shirt that is for sale on his website, Carney played audio from a voicemail that Reed was leaving for O'Keefe at the time she found O'Keefe's body, incidentally capturing McCabe calling 911. At the time of Kearney's YouTube video, only the Commonwealth, Reed, and Reed's legal team possessed the audio file. It's eventually Reed signal furtherance of the scheme. Carney met with Reed. Yeah, we know that. Reed, okay, we know that. Yeah, we know that. We already know what this shit's about. You know, I mean, I don't think I have to read like all this shit, but it's, you know, I feel bad for Karen and everything that she's been through, everything that she's dealing with, and this piece of scum. How did she? I mean, I'm just trying to make sense of how she could have possibly gotten hooked up with him. I mean, he blackmailed her dad, tried to have her sign something saying that he got first interview, movie rights, and all this shit. And I mean, he was making so much money off her. It's insane. And, you know, it blows your mind. You know, it just blows your mind. And like, let me see. What does it say here? Blackmail, financial blackmail. Emotional. Yeah, emotional blackmail. All right. Well, I just read that to you. I hope it broke some of it down because I know that you're not going to be told the truth. So basically whatever he says is bullshit. And like, you know, you would think that somebody that I don't even know what to think of him anymore. I don't know if he's sick. I don't know if he's spiraling. I don't know if he's confused about his sexual preference. I don't know what the deal is. But I just know that he's talked mad shit about mad people. He's peeking out windows. He's wants people to run license plates. You know who runs license plates for him? Deanna Corby. That's who does it. There you have it. Well, I think I'm going to bed. I tried 3 streams today. I had a few situations, gave up. And like I keep looking up and I see that there's like nobody watching. So I'm going to put a sticker on that the next time because I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going. And I know eventually I'll grow on some of you. And one more thing. JFK is my daddy. Good night, everybody. Peace to you, bum grease. What the fuck?